The September 11th attacks changed America forever. But what many people don't know is what recovery workers discovered in the aftermath. Over 9 months, thousands of workers sifted through 1.8 million tons of debris, making discoveries that were heartbreaking, miraculous, and sometimes deeply symbolic. Today, we're looking at 7 shocking discoveries found in the 9/11 rubble. But before we begin, I want to say this content is meant to honor the victims, survivors, and heroes of that day. If you or someone you know was affected by 9/11, please take care while watching. Discovery number 7. The Fresh Kills Operation. Before we talk about specific discoveries, you need to understand the massive scale of the recovery effort. Ground Zero wasn't the only place where the search happened. Nearly 1.5 million tons of debris was transported to Fresh Kills, a recently closed landfill in Staten Island. This became the primary location where forensic specialists sorted through every piece of rubble. The operation was meticulous. Workers used quarter-inch sieves to sort through the debris. They worked for over 1.7 million hours, examining everything by hand. The goal? To recover human remains and find evidence about what happened. The results were staggering. 42,257 human remains were recovered from Fresh Kills, along with 54,000 personal items. But only 300 people could be identified from these remains found at the landfill. This painstaking work set the stage for all the other discoveries we're about to discuss. Discovery number 6. Aircraft parts blocks away. When the planes hit the towers, the force of impact
scattered debris across lower Manhattan, but some discoveries were made surprisingly far from Ground Zero. Large pieces of the aircraft, including a complete engine and landing gear, were discovered blocks away from the World Trade Center site. These massive components had been hurled through the air during the collision and explosions. One particularly significant discovery came years later, when landing gear was found wedged between 2 buildings in 2013, more than a decade after the attacks. This shows just how thoroughly the debris field spread across the city. These aircraft parts became crucial evidence for investigators trying to understand exactly what happened that day. Discovery number 5. The Pentagon's personal artifacts. While most people focus on the World Trade Center, we shouldn't forget about the Pentagon attack. The recovery there yielded its own poignant discoveries. Among the items recovered were deeply personal objects. A partially melted pocket calculator, still recognizable despite the intense heat. A baseball desk ornament with the words, "Sometimes you just have to play hardball," etched on it, a phrase that took on haunting meaning. Recovery workers also found a pocket New Testament, its pages singed but intact, and postage stamps that had been burned around the edges. These small, everyday items remind us that the Pentagon wasn't just a building. It was a workplace filled with people who had families, hobbies, and lives that were cut short. Discovery number 4. The last column. On May 30, 2002, nearly 9 months after the attacks, a ceremony marked the end of the initial recovery effort. The focus of that ceremony was a single piece of steel, the last column. This 58-ton beam from the South Tower was the final piece of structural steel to be removed from Ground Zero. But it became much more than just a beam. Recovery workers had covered it with inscriptions, memorial messages, and missing person posters. It had become a
shrine representing all the loss and all the hope that characterized those 9 months of searching. Today, the last column stands in the 9/11 Memorial Museum as one of its most significant artifacts. It's a testament to the workers who refused to give up, who kept searching day after day for any trace of the victims. Discovery number 3. 750 bone fragments on a rooftop. This discovery is particularly disturbing, but it highlights how far the debris spread and how complex the recovery was. The Deutsche Bank building stood near the World Trade Center. It was damaged in the attacks, but remained standing. For years, it seemed the building had been fully searched and cleared. Then, in 2005, 4 years after the attacks, workers made a shocking discovery. 750 bone fragments from 9/11 victims were found on the building's roof. These remains had been sitting there, undetected, for 4 years. The discovery raised serious questions about whether the initial recovery efforts had been thorough enough and led to renewed searches of other buildings in the area.
For families who thought they'd said their final goodbyes, this discovery reopened wounds and offered new hope for identification through DNA testing.
Discovery number 2. The Fused Bible. On March 30th, 2002, about 6 months into the recovery effort, a firefighter made a discovery that many called miraculous. He found a Bible that had been fused to a piece of metal, likely from the intense heat of the fires that burned at Ground Zero. The Bible hadn't just survived, it was opened to a specific page. The visible text read passages including "an eye for an eye" and "resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also." This is from Matthew 5:39, part of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount.
Discovery number 1. 20 survivors pulled from the rubble. Our number 1 discovery isn't an object. It's something far more precious: human life. In those first crucial hours and days after the towers fell, 20 people were pulled alive from the rubble. 20 miracles amidst unimaginable tragedy. The most famous rescue involved 2 Port Authority from wreckage near where a pedestrian bridge had collapsed. Each rescue gave hope to the thousands of workers digging through the debris. They proved that even in the darkest moments, even when survival seemed impossible, miracles could still happen.
These discoveries remind us that 9/11 wasn't just a historical event. It's an ongoing story of loss, resilience, and remembrance. If you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to visit the 9/11 Memorial Museum, either in person or through their online collection database. The stories these artifacts tell deserve to be heard and remembered. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to leave a like if this video helped you understand this important history. Subscribe for more documentary content, and share your thoughts